There is a belief so common, so socially accepted, that most people never question it, and yet it silently sabotages financial abundance more effectively than bad luck, lack of opportunity, or even poor skills. The dangerous part is not that the belief exists. It's that it sounds responsible, logical, even wise. And because of that, people defend it without realizing the cost. The belief is this: money must come through sacrifice, struggle, or suffering, otherwise it's not real. At first glance, this idea feels noble. It feels disciplined. It feels like maturity. But underneath, it plants a deep association between abundance and pain. And the mind is very literal. When you train it to believe that growth requires suffering, it will unconsciously reject ease, flow, and opportunities that feel too good or too simple. Think about how often you've heard phrases like, "Nothing comes easy. You have to grind. If it's not hard, it's not worth it." Over time, these ideas don't motivate, they program. They convince you that rest equals laziness, enjoyment equals irresponsibility, and ease equals danger. So when an opportunity appears that feels aligned, calm, or natural, something inside you hesitates. You doubt it, you delay, or you sabotage it by overcomplicating things. Here's a real-world example. Two people with similar skills and intelligence start a business. One believes money requires suffering. The other believes money responds to value, clarity, and consistency. The first one overworks, ignores intuition, underprices their work, and feels guilty charging more. The second one improves systems, sets boundaries, and allows growth without burnout. Over time, the results aren't just different financially, they're different emotionally. One feels constantly behind, the other feels sustainable momentum. The difference isn't luck, it's belief. Another example. Have you ever noticed that when things start going well financially, a strange anxiety appears? Almost like you're waiting for something to go wrong. That's not coincidence. That's the belief activating. If money must come through struggle, then ease feels temporary, unsafe, suspicious. So the mind creates tension where none is needed, just to match the internal story. This belief also creates a subtle form of self-punishment. People delay success because they feel they haven't paid the price yet. They stay in jobs they've outgrown. They reject help. They refuse leverage. Not because it's rational, but because subconsciously, abundance without suffering feels undeserved. And here's the most damaging consequence. This belief keeps people busy instead of effective, exhausted instead of strategic, proud of how hard they work, but confused about why results don't match effort. If this already sounds uncomfortably familiar, pause for a second. You're not alone. This belief is inherited, not chosen. It comes from family narratives, cultural conditioning, and generations that equated survival with worth. But what protected past generations can limit the next. If you're finding value in this reflection so far, this is a good moment to support the channel. Subscribe and leave a like. It helps this message reach people who might be stuck in this exact pattern without knowing why. In the next part, we'll go deeper into how this belief subtly shapes decisions, relationships with work, and even self-esteem, and why letting it go doesn't make you irresponsible. It makes you effective. Once you recognize this belief, you start seeing its influence everywhere, not just in how you earn money, but in how you relate to it. It shapes the way you price your time, the way you ask for opportunities, and even the way you receive. Many people don't struggle financially because they lack discipline or intelligence. They struggle because their inner rules about money are outdated and self-restricting. A powerful sign this belief is active is guilt around earning. You work hard, you get results, and instead of feeling satisfied, you feel uneasy. You downplay your success, you explain yourself. You justify why you deserve what you received. This is not humility. It's conditioning. It's the mind trying to reconcile abundance with a belief system that equates worth with suffering. Another place this shows up is in how people spend. Someone who believes money must be earned through pain often spends unconsciously, either too tightly, out of fear, or too loosely, out of rebellion. In both cases, money isn't treated as a neutral tool. It becomes emotional, heavy, charged. And when money is emotionally charged, it becomes unpredictable. Consider the person who constantly says, "I just need to work harder." That sounds admirable. But often, it's avoidance disguised as effort. Working harder feels safer than questioning whether the strategy is wrong, the environment is misaligned, or the belief system itself is flawed. Effort becomes a shield against responsibility for change. There's also a subtle identity trap here. Many people unconsciously bond with struggle. It becomes part of who they are. The one who pushes through, the one who never stops. Letting go of struggle then feels like letting go of identity. Who am I if life doesn't require constant effort? That question can feel threatening. So the mind chooses familiarity over freedom. But financial abundance doesn't respond to exhaustion. It responds to clarity, to value creation, to leverage, to the ability to see patterns instead of just putting in hours. When effort is disconnected from strategy, it turns into motion without direction. Here's a grounding example. Imagine someone trying to push a car uphill alone. They strain, sweat, suffer, and barely move it. Now imagine they step back, look around, and realize there's a slight turn in the road that makes the incline easier. Same destination, same effort potential, completely different outcome. The difference wasn't strength. It was perspective. This belief blocks perspective. It tells you that ease is laziness and rest is weakness. But clarity requires space, not pressure. That's why some of the most impactful financial decisions happen away from urgency. During reflection, during pauses, during moments where you stop reacting and start evaluating. If you've ever noticed that your best ideas didn't come while you were exhausted, that's not accidental. Abundance flows better through a regulated nervous system than a stressed one. This is another good moment to check in with yourself. Ask honestly, do I associate money with pressure, with tension, with proving something? If the answer is yes, awareness is already loosening the grip of that belief. If this perspective is helping you reframe money in a healthier way, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It supports this space and encourages deeper conversations around topics most people avoid. In the final part, we'll talk about how to replace this belief, not with unrealistic thinking, but with a grounded framework that allows abundance to grow without guilt, burnout, or fear. Letting go of the belief that money must come through suffering doesn't mean rejecting effort, responsibility, or discipline. It means redefining what effort is for. Instead of using effort to punish yourself into worthiness, you start using it strategically to build value, create leverage, and make decisions that compound over time. This is where a healthier belief begins to take shape. Money responds to alignment, not suffering. Alignment between your skills and what the world needs. Between your values and your methods. Between how you work and how you want to live. When those align, effort stops feeling heavy. It becomes focused, purposeful, sustainable. Notice how the most financially stable people don't appear rushed. They aren't constantly justifying themselves or trying to prove how hard they work. That's not because they care less. It's because they understand where their energy produces results. They respect time. They respect boundaries. And most importantly, they respect clarity over chaos. Replacing the old belief starts with permission. Permission to earn without guilt. Permission to rest without fear. Permission to choose smarter paths without feeling like you're cheating. These permissions don't make you weaker. They make you sharper. Because once guilt is removed, your decisions become cleaner. A practical shift happens when you start asking different questions. Instead of how much can I endure, you ask, what actually moves the needle? Instead of "Am I working hard enough?" you ask, "Am I working in the right direction?" Those questions rewire behavior over time. Another crucial part is learning to receive. Many people can give effort endlessly, but feel uncomfortable receiving money, praise, or opportunity. This comes from the same belief: if receiving feels wrong, the system breaks. Abundance requires circulation. When you allow yourself to receive without self-judgment, you stop blocking the flow you're trying to create. This doesn't mean avoiding challenges. Growth will still ask things of you. But the challenge shifts from suffering to responsibility, from endurance to refinement. You still show up, just without bleeding for it. If there's one takeaway to carry with you, it's this: abundance doesn't need your pain to justify its existence. It needs your presence, your clarity, and your willingness to stop confusing struggle with worth. Take a moment now and notice where this belief may still be operating quietly in your life. One place is enough. Awareness creates space. Space creates choice. If this message helped you reframe your relationship with money, this is a great moment to subscribe and leave a like. It allows this conversation to reach people who are still exhausting themselves trying to prove their value. You don't have to suffer to be abundant. You don't have to earn rest through burnout. And you don't have to make life harder just to feel deserving. When money is allowed to come through clarity instead of conflict, abundance stops feeling distant and starts feeling natural.